our story begins when Avadia was about 2. I think he was just a little bit over 2 years old. We decided to enroll him in like a preschool. It was just to kind of get him used to going to someone else, because I knew the coming year, it was basically I think around December or January, I decided to enroll him in like a part-time preschool type program, because I knew the following year he'd be going to a full-time preschool. And I just kind of wanted him to have that transition time of like being around other kids and kind of getting a feel for not being around mommy all the time, basically. But Avadia, so he started school and he seemed happy. I did notice though that he wasn't talking as much as the other kids, so it concerned me a little bit, but I'd been around kids a lot, and I guess I was just so busy with my own kids. When I look back, it kind of shocks me. I guess they didn't realize how delayed he was, but I wasn't unaware of it. I knew he was delayed. I just didn't realize how severely delayed he was in regards to his peers. So he did that for a couple months, and then when we enrolled him in the full-time gun, that's when things really started to crop up. That Ganene had a lot of experience. A Ganene is a teacher. It's like a preschool teacher. So she had a lot of experience with kids with learning disabilities and things. A few of her own children have learning disabilities, so I think that's kind of why she was maybe more attuned to it than other teachers would be sometimes. And so she noticed something was up. He wasn't speaking as well as he should for his age. He definitely wasn't so communicative. He didn't really interact with his peers. He kind of just seemed to be in his own world. And when she started to tell me these things, obviously as a parent, you're concerned and worried and thinking, oh no, what's going on? So she recommended to us to take him to the pediatrician and speak to them about getting a referral to the developmental doctor, because that's how it goes here. So that's what we did. We filled out the form. She filled out the form. We submitted our form. That took a few months for them to get back to us. It's a very slow process here. Avadia, we filled out the paperwork, and then we got a call from the social worker, and she scheduled an appointment with us to meet us and to discuss our questionnaire. So we went to the meeting and we reviewed all the questions and answered any additional questions she had. And then after that, they set up an appointment for us to meet with a team of doctors and therapists and things that would be of developmental things, basically. A physical therapist, an occupational therapist, a speech therapist, a developmental doctor, and a psychologist. So they set up that you meet with all 5 of these at one time, and you come to the room with your child, and you discuss they'll ask you a few questions about things that you wrote on the form or whatever, so that's what we did. And we kind of just discussed Avadia, and they asked about things that he likes to do, and based on that, they pulled out some toys that they thought he'd like to play with, and they started to try to play with him, and they did their whole diagnosis of doing what they do. So after that, they ask you to leave the room for a little bit. So we leave the room with Avadia, and we're waiting to hear from them what they thought and how they thought, the play session went. So we come back in, and they started talking to us, and basically they said, I think your child's on the autistic spectrum. And we're kind of like, what? It was a big shock. It's not what I expected. I guess just expected, he's really behind verbally, but it'll be okay. We'll just give him some speech therapy. So initially we went home and we kind of just sat on this. They didn't want to diagnose him immediately because they wanted to give it time because he was so young. So I think we returned in about 6 months, and at the 6-month appointment, they did diagnose him with autism, and that was hard. It was hard. It was a bit of an emotional roller coaster, I guess, because you know, you hear this about your child and you want to think that, you know, your child isn't ever going to struggle in life. And to hear that that they have this, it's a mind adjustment. Now, you know, I have to say we're very happy with the boys, and we see that they have a lot of special characteristics that really allow them to excel, and they have a lot of special abilities, but you don't know that initially, and you don't know what their life will be for them. You don't know if people are going to bully them, or if it's going to be hard for them in school. And, you know, as a parent, you never want your child to struggle. You want them to be successful in whatever they do. And so with that, it took us a good while to get our head wrapped around the diagnosis. I think me more so than my husband. My husband really was okay with it. You know, he's like, okay, now we know what the issue is. Let's see what we can do to help him. And I'd always kind of told myself in the back of my head at some point when I was younger, you know, of, you know what, if I ever have a kid and you know, there's something wrong, you know, I'm going to do whatever it takes to give them the help that they need, that they can be independent and successful on their own and know that they're loved and that, you know, they can do whatever they want regardless. So I kind of took that approach once I digested everything, and that's really the approach we've taken thus far.